I'm great. Thanks for asking. It's Kenzie here today with my first advice. How exciting is that? I'm pretty excited about this. Um, it's kind of what every teenager has to go through, honestly, is strict parents. Like how I hate strict parents. I don't hate strict parents because they're just looking out for your best, but this is what you do. I mean, okay, so this person DM me and ask me this. So my parents are always strict on me about everything and I never do much. I just want to spend time with my friends and they never let me. What should I do? Well, honestly, strict parents are hard to, deal with. My mom, she used to be pretty strict, but she had her reasons. But I'll get onto that later, honestly. You can always make kind of like a list of like privileges that you feel that you should have with your parents, but do not ask for too many, because if you ask for too many, then your parents are going to get angry with you and then not give you privileges at all, and you kind of like screw it up for yourself. Like, start out small, like maybe like depending on your age, you can ask about curfew, like maybe like on a Friday night, instead of coming home at like 8 o'clock at night, ask them to come home at 11. I mean, it's the weekend and you have all weekend, to do your homework. If, again, depending on your age, if you're already out of high school, I don't really understand why your parents are strict on you. That's just my thing. Tell your parents, like ask your parents why you deserve these privileges. Like, you don't rely on like what your parents, your friends' parents kind of like do, because like that's just a comparison and you don't want to compare. Well, why don't you go live with them and let them be your parent? Like, no, you don't want to compare somebody else's parents with yours. Like, that's not always a good thing. You say why you deserve these privileges and don't be comparing your friends' parents with your parents, because it's not gonna end well. Actually sit down and have like a serious conversation with your parents. Like, you need to be, if you want to be taken seriously, make sure you approach them seriously. And also, depending on your parents, don't approach them in a bad way. Like, your parents, so if, like, you need to approach them in like a nice way, comforting way, something not to get them angry. Honestly, you don't want them to get them angry if you want these privileges to actually, go through. Just be careful on how you approach them, because like that can make or break. It can make or break you, honestly. Listen to your parents' concerns, because sometimes they're afraid that you can make a mistake. But honestly, hit them with this. Say like, mistakes are gonna happen growing up. It's a part of growing up. Making mistakes is always a part of growing up. And that's how you learn from your mistakes. You don't want your parents, your parents have been through a lot. That's why they're probably strict. They don't want you to make the same mistakes that they've made, but in reality, you need to make your own mistakes and you need to learn from them, instead of having your parents try to, be your backbone and telling you. Sometimes you need to go out there and make your own mistakes for you to actually learn and get what your parents are trying to understand. Because in my personal way, my mom had children, four of her children out of wedlock, and she doesn't want me or my sister to make that same mistake that she's had. And that's why she's way stricter on me and my sister than she was on my two brothers growing up. And me and my sister had to tell her, like, Mom, you've raised us correctly, and you have to understand, like, sometimes my mom has to understand that she has raised us in a right way. And I'm so grateful for her to that. I've never really made any mistakes in my life for me to, really tell you guys, because I don't really know what mistakes I make. My mom has raised me in the right way in order for me to go out in the world and know that's not right. And so you need to let your parents know that, like, hey, you raised me in a perfectly great way for me to go out in the world and do what I need to do. You can't just like hold me in this little box, because when you finally do go out in the world, you're going to be like this wild, crazy child, and your parents are going to wonder where they went wrong, and they always had you on a chain, and they never really gave you that freedom that you really deserve. And you need to tell them, like, hey, you really need to like loosen up the reins here, because if not, like, I'm going to be like this wild child when I go to college. And that's where mostly people kind of like drop out of college, fail college, or mess up, I guess you could say, because they're on their own and they have no parents to, yank them back. And having that freedom in high school can like make you more mature and responsible when you go to college, because you know that in high school it never worked out, so why would it work out in college? Some of you guys want to be treated as adults, but you act like children. If you want to be treated as an adult, act like an adult, act responsible. Show your parents that you deserve like these privileges that you're bringing forth to them. Like, you need to show them that you deserve it. Honestly, I mean, no parent is gonna wanna give these privileges to someone who's not acting the way they're supposed to act and acting childish 24/7. You need to act like an adult and act responsible. When you give your parents these privileges, and if they say yes, show them that you can handle these privileges, and later on you can give them more and say, hey, I handled these privileges correctly and responsibly, can I have more? That's when you ask for more. And don't ask them right off the bat. Let time go by first before you ask them for more privileges. Show them that you can handle it. Sometimes parents do know best. I know you don't want to hear this from me, but it's completely true. Because parents, they know what friends are bad for you and what friends aren't, honestly. Because, say, okay, for example, myself. My mom told me, I introduced her to one of my friends, and she just didn't like her. She felt, really bad vibes about her. I was like, Mom, it's whatever. Yeah, And I listened to my mom one day, and I started paying attention to what this friend was doing. And I noticed what she was talking about. Like, this friend is bad news, and I've never understood. I mean, if my mom wouldn't have said anything to me, then, I would have been doing these bad things with this friend, and it was all bad. So after I realized that my friend was all bad, I kind of just I kind of just weaned away from this friend, because I mean, you don't want to cut them off cold turkey and then they start wondering why. No, you just need to peel, just start to not talk to them as much, not hang out with them as much, and then later on you'll be cut off completely from being their friend. And if your parents aren't responsive at all to this, don't get upset and tell them that they're a bad parent. No, you don't know. You'll mess everything up. Just tell them, ask them to take it into consideration, and show them that you deserve it and all this other stuff. Don't make things worse for you by saying that they're a bad parent and all this other stuff. That's not helping your cause whatsoever. Just say, hey, you may not understand now, but at least take it into consideration what I brought forth to you, all these privileges and everything. It would mean a lot for me to at least know that you have taken into consideration. Saying, instead of saying, oh, you're such a bad parent, I hate you, and all this other stuff. No, you're making things worse by saying that. Don't do that. Don't. Other than that, that's about it, because that's really it. And if your parents do give you these privileges and say yes to them, don't mess it up by going behind their back and sneaking out and ruining it. Honestly, if they've given you these privileges and say no to at least one thing, just messed up my camera. Okay, if they say no to at least one thing, don't be go behind their back and sneak away. No, that's not good at all. Don't do that. You're just gonna ruin it for yourself, and they're not gonna be able to trust you anymore. Just be happy that the privileges that they're gonna give you, be happy with it, and later on in life, then they might even come forth to you